So I've just come back from a client visit, and reading a news article on the train home made me think if this has been the case whilst I've been at an investment bank. And since I already had my camera set up, I wanted to make a quick video to talk about the main business degree, which is an MBA, if it's actually worth it when thinking about getting into investment banking, consultancy, or big tech firms. The first point to be aware of is that the working environment has changed. Now, before I carry on, I want to make clear I'm not against MBAs or attending business school. I'm currently studying at King's College London Business School, but not for an MBA, and I probably won't ever do it for an MBA. You see, back in the days, if you didn't have an MBA, then you'd be facing a big barrier to entry for a lot of top jobs as well as career progression. For example, in investment banking, a lot of the associate level positions would be filled with MBA graduates who joined at that level straight out of business school. And so if you didn't have one, then you'd be facing a big competitive disadvantage to those MBA graduates. But these days, you can reach that level doing a normal degree and enter as an analyst. And once inside, your path to associate level is pretty straightforward. And that path to associate level is always being reviewed, not necessarily to make it easier, but just to allow employees to reach that level by different ways. So that previous reason of needing an MBA stamp on your CV to reach a certain level is no longer required. And what you could only learn by entering top business schools, honestly, you can find that information for free online and start using it straight away in your day job. So this second point might seem contradictory to the first one where I said you don't need to have the business school to get a certain level of job, but rather this point is actually targeting a specific group of people. You see, if you already have those Goldman Sachs on your CV, JP Morgan or McKinsey, it means you've already got that brand name or a good university on your resume. So getting into another top institution to do an MBA isn't going to give you a massive lift as much as you got from doing that undergrad at that top institution. However, if your undergrad uni or your previous work experiences don't have that brand name, then maybe an MBA can help you here. But be careful. Outside of, say, around the top 30 to 40 global business schools, it's difficult to say which business school will give you that brand name on your CV. And I will be making a business school focused ranking video very soon to help you guys choose the top business schools. But in my opinion, if the business school is going to accept you for an MBA course with only around 2 to 3 years of work experience, I wouldn't think that's a top business school to pursue your MBA at. You see, a big part of an MBA course is about bringing together diverse peoples of varying experiences, which they can then share and learn from each other. And you're not going to have those experiences to share with people if you only have 3 years of work experience. So yes, getting into an MBA from a top business school is useful if it'll help you with boosting your CV, but make sure that institution also has a high barrier to entry when they select their students. Otherwise, it's not going to be much of a brand name. So this is probably not the best reason to pursue an MBA just because of the cost, but if you've missed a boat on graduate intake cycles, have stalled a bit in your career, then by doing an MBA, you've got another shot at applying again for investment banking programs, big tech firms, or at consultancy companies, and all of them have specific MBA intake cycles, which means you're now eligible for them, and essentially you'll have another go at trying to get your foot into the door in that industry by a very structured entry route. Now, the last point is related to getting your foot into the door, and that's with using your MBA for networking. So remember what I said earlier, where the best business schools will generally want people who've already had a few years of work experience under the belt. Essentially, your fellow students will be excellent people to network with, as they can then help open doors for you either by themselves or by introducing you to other people that they know. However, if you feel your network is already quite wide, or networking is something that you're already very comfortable at, then an MBA is probably not going to help a great deal when it comes to your next career move. Though at the end of the day, networking is the key to unlocking opportunities these days. And whilst previously networking was done in closed rooms where you had to know someone to be introduced to someone else, these days there's an opening, or rather a democratization of networking, which is accessible for all. And one of the best networking tools these days is via LinkedIn. When you're using LinkedIn, you don't need to be introduced to someone by someone else. You can just simply reach out to them yourself. So make sure your profile is top notch to give that good first impression. And if you want to get some tips on how to give that great first online impression, I've already made a video on some tried and tested methods, which I leave next to me. So go check that out, and I'll see you all in the next video.